Welcome to the 2024 first game edition of the Coaches Show with head coach Aaron Dunnam. I'm Zane Powers, joined by Dumas Demon head football coach Aaron Dunnam. Coach Dunnam, welcome to the 2024 season.
We're here. I'm excited about this, and looking forward to this opening football game.
This is going to be your 7th season at the helm of the Dumas Demon football team. Talk about that excitement. I mean, how excited are you to get things started? Finally, getting to play some games here that are going to count.
Very excited. Every year comes with its challenges. Every year comes with new opportunities. And so I'm excited about that. Excited about every year we came into this last year with a lot of new faces. A lot of inexperience at the varsity level, and I thought we progressively got better each week. But this team's a little bit different. We come in with more experience as we return 9 on the defensive side of the football, and anywhere from 5 to 7, just depending how you look at it on the offensive side. And so excited to get it started. Excited. For the opportunity for these young men and our coaching staff to get on the field and compete.
Oh, man. Well, the scrimmage portion of the season has ended. You got a kind of a unique opportunity. I know we did this a few years ago, I think down in Levelland, where you had a little tri-scrimmage, but you got to scrimmage 3 different squads in these 2 weeks. Tri-scrimmage last week, and then you scrimmaged against Lubbock Coronado here a couple weeks ago. So you kind of got 3 different looks at your team, which is good. How do you feel about your team coming out of those scrimmages?
I like to try. I mean, I like the fact that there's not a whole lot of preparation that goes into it. So you really get to see your kids be tested. You're going to see multiple offenses, multiple defenses, all in the same night. The kids really got to shift their gears, and especially it's all on the kids, because there's not a whole lot of game planning or preparation going into that. More just fundamentals and watching our kids line up and play. And so I was excited about that. I was excited, to see how our kids played fundamentally. I thought we did some really good things on both sides of the football. And then, they were both 3, 5A Division I programs, that have a lot of kids and a lot of, usually have more numbers than we have. And so I was excited about the opportunity, and I like how we came out. You never want to go into a scrimmage just feeling totally excited when it's over. I mean, you hope that you're challenged. You hope there's things to work on, and there were definitely things that we needed to work on leaving that scrimmage. And you try to progress from the first scrimmage to the second scrimmage. You want to be able to progress and see your kids fix some of the mistakes that we had, and I think we did that. And again, this will be a process from week 1 all the way, until the final game of the district season. You're going to be able to. Hopefully, you're still able to make adjustments along the way. Sure.
Talk about how it's different preparation-wise going into scrimmages versus games, as far as even just game plan.
Sure. Well, you don't trade film, and so you're just going in. You do talk to the coaches. We send a few texts and we say, hey, what scheme are you running on offense? What are you running on defense? And it's that simple. We're a 4-2-5 or we're a 3-4 on defense, and then on offense you get we're spread, we're multiple. We run gap schemes. We run inside outside zone. That's about all you know.
Yeah.
And so. Totally different. When we get into prepping for a game, we do trade our videos, and so our coaching staff does dig in really, really hard, and I think that's something that our staff and our kids are pretty good at. I do. I think we do a good job of working through the data and being able to, we're a defense to formation, and so we work through the data and we establish a game plan defensively, and we do the same on offense. We're putting formations and alignments and everything up on the board, and so our kids are able to lock in more, which it puts more on the kids.
Sure.
We were pretty free and flying and running around. You hope to get through that in the week of a game. You start a little bit slower on Monday, and you progress on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and hopefully by Friday you're hitting on all cylinders.
Well, Coach, as we look at this year's team, you kind of hit on this a little bit as far as it's a different look this year than it was last year, but as far as returners, it's going to be pretty familiar with who people are seeing. Let's start on defense. Talk about your returners on defense, and then we'll go to newcomers.
Just start in the back end. We just talked a little bit earlier that we have 9 of them, and so as we look in the back end, we look at Reese Waddell at the corner. He's a kid that's going to be playing for us both ways. A kid that went through some injuries last year, but has had a really good camp and is playing really well. Jump over to the other corner, and you look at James Coley, again a kid that plays for us both ways, but a kid that started for us at cornerback, and so a lot of experience there. And then you look at our 2 safeties, Emmanuel Marquez, Johnny Marquez, the 2 Marquez boys, and both started for us last year and were huge impacts for our defense and great leaders on that side of the football. And then you move to our outside linebackers with Dustin Coey, again, returning starter, Connor Fry, another returning starter. I've talked a lot about both those 2 young men, but they're very, very good football players and very knowledgeable about the game there. And then so when you look at our D-line, as we start working through there's only one returner on that defensive line, and that's Zane Quiroga, played for us at defensive end last year, and so that rounds up the 9 of the 11 returning starters for us on defense.
So let's talk about the guys coming back that are newcomers.
2 newcomers that are, and again, anytime you talk about a newcomer and you talk about the first game of the season, I mean, it still is wide open. I mean, there's still a lot of guys that have the opportunities to play those positions, but a guy that we've been really, really excited about and is shining here early in camp in our scrimmages is Race Thornburg at defensive end. He's a kid that played on the JV last year. Total position change, plays outside linebacker. But we really just saw his skills and his abilities to be able to put his hand down and fit within our 3-4 defense. And again, our defensive line doesn't always have to be the biggest guys just because of the style of defense that we play and how we slant and move. But Race has done a really good job right there at the defensive end. And then another guy that we is a returner or that we've got a hole is at the nose guard. And so that job is open right now. But the guy that's been getting the majority of the starting reps is Renee Castrojean. And he's doing some really, really good things. But again, Brian Alvarado is another guy that's getting reps there. Xavier Quiroga, we move him down. And then, another guy that's getting a lot of reps right now is Cody Austin at the defensive end. And so that's sort of our rotation and our 3-4 defense there.
I mean, is there anybody that you coached recently that might play more loose than Race Thornburg?
No, he does, and Race is a super kid. Race sometimes will drive you crazy a little bit, but his personality is awesome. He's a kid that loves to hang around in the locker room. We always have a team. We have a coaches meeting after every practice in the locker room. And for some reason, Race is sitting there on the couches with us almost every evening. But again, love his energy, love his attitude and his approach on life.
Yeah, he's a fun kid. Next, let's talk offense. Who do you have returning there on the offensive side?
Got a lot of returners as well. Let's just start at the receivers. We talk about Reese Waddell. I mean, he was again a kid that got a lot of snaps on both sides of the football. James Coley is another one of our receivers that is a returning starter at the receiver spot. You look at Emmanuel Marquez, another kid that plays both ways, a returning receiver. Johnny Marquez played there last year, and so is a returner as well. And then we've got a lot of guys, that are still fighting for those positions. You look at Sadler Wick, a guy that's getting a lot of reps. You look at Aaron Arantia, a guy that's a flex player. We play at tight end and H, and also at receiver. But again, if we're a spread offense and we're 4 wide right there's 4 starters that we named that are all coming back to the receiver position.
Yeah. Then moving to the offensive backfield.
The offensive backfield, again, we don't return a starter, but I feel like we've got a guy that maybe was not a starting running back, but has a lot of he has a starter mentality. And Johnny Marquez right now is our starting running back, and I think we've seen some really, really promising things from him throughout the scrimmages. But again, just as we talk about these other positions, I mean, we've got some a deep backfield. We look at Adam Trujillo; he's another kid that's getting reps there. You look at ZJ is another kid that's getting a lot of reps there right now. And then we talked about Connor Fry on the defensive side. Connor is also working in at running back as well. And so we have 4 guys there that we're looking. Anytime. Sometimes we're in a 3-back set. Sometimes we're in a 2-back set. Sometimes we're in a 1-back set. And so those are all guys that you'll see on Friday night playing in the backfield for us.
You got a guy that's calling your plays back there. that saw some action last year.
We do. Colton Mills is a returner. Started 7 games for us last year as a freshman, and I just I think he's going to have a really good year. He understands what he's doing more. He understands our offense, and just he's a kid that has a super arm talent. And again, I think if we'll give him the time back there, he's going to do some special things for us.
All of these guys that you're naming, both sides of the ball so far, there's something that they all have in common that I think has got them to the point that they're at. These guys are not only good football players; these guys can run.
They are. I'm really like our team speed right now. I do. I think we've had some kids that have really invested in the off season. That's something that we preach here. Is we tell our kids, we're going to be multi-sport athletes. One of our phases of our off season is our linear speed, and we're always focusing on that. And I think our kids really bought into that last spring and have really improved our speed. And we're flying around right now. And then so let's finish the starters on the offensive side. Let's talk about the most important of all of them is probably the offensive line. And so again, just like on the defensive line, that's where we have some holes. As I started this thing and talked about new opportunities, we've got some kids with some new opportunities. But returning starters that we bring back, Titan Temple is starting for us right now at right guard. Charlie Gomez is a returning starter for us, starting at left tackle. And then the other ones are new. Thunder Mayo did get playing time for us last year, but probably not a returning starter, starting for us at right tackle right now. Gael Cardenas is a kid that we're really excited about, but played a lot of JV football last year, and so he's just going to have to mature and grow up. But starting for us at left guard, and then we're starting a sophomore, Aaron Vinzer, right now at center. And so that rounds out our offensive line. Again, we've got other guys that are playing that. We'll cross over some with some defensive players. Rene Castrojohn was a guy that did start for us last year at center. He's still getting reps on the offensive side. So excited about where those guys are. I'm excited about the growth. I thought we come out the first scrimmage. I thought we ran the ball really effectively. I didn't think we were great in our pass blocking, but something that I saw improvement on from week 1 to week 2 in our scrimmages.
Yeah, it's exciting, and for you guys being able to kind of put these puzzle pieces together, seeing who's going to fit best in what spot, who's going to respond, having to switch and go different places. That seems to be something that it's a yearly thing.
It is.
You have to fill gaps and put in different people in different holes, and I think with this team year after year, they see it. It's that they've seen the guys in the year before. They saw maybe last year, who I feel like made a guy last year that showed the ultimate way to be a team leader in Keegan Ireland, and showing how multiple he was just on offensive line.
Sure. I just, I think high school football coaches are the best there are, in the business. I just do. I mean, we don't get to recruit our kids.
Yeah.
Some of us don't, and we don't, so we just got to take whatever we have coming for us. And so whatever kids we have here in Dumas, we got to see how they fit within our schemes. And kids do have to take an unselfish approach to this deal. I mean, we just, it might not be exactly where you're wanting to play. I mean, I don't know if Ray Thornburg, was thinking before we moved him that I'm going to be a defensive lineman.
Sure.
But that they believe in our vision. They believe in our staff. They believe in their abilities to be able to trust us that we're going to get them where they need to be, and just our kids play extremely hard for us, and so that's a recipe for success.
Sure. Well, let's talk about special teams. This coach I think is group, and I think we talk about this often too. If you can be good on special teams, you can win games. Being able to kick field goals, being able to return, get yourself set up, being able to defend on punts and all that kind of stuff. So talk about your special teams returners.
Sure. And this is another phase of the game that we take a lot of time in. When we started fall camp and we started working on our offense and defense on day 1, we also were working on special teams day 1. And so it's not an off down for us. I mean, we're going to put the best players that we can on there. If it's a starter and he's getting reps on offense and defense, and he can also help us on special teams, he's going to be on there. And so when when you talk about special teams, there are a few specialty players on special teams, and so we talk about our snapper. Let's start with our snapper, deep snapper, short snapper. It is from the same family, but a new kid with Blake Robinson. That's our deep snapper and short snapper, and is doing a really good job for us. We return Sam Maripa, our kicker, and then we've added one. We've added Christian Saldana, who is a freshman who's got a really talented leg and still just working on his accuracy and things. But he's another kid that we're really excited about. Holder, Emmanuel Marquez is doing our holding for us, and then you look at our return game. I think a lot of the same guys that we talked about, you're going to see there as well. You're going to see the Emmanuel Marquez, the Johnny Marquez. You're going to see, different guys. But those are our two main returners. There's CS punt return and kickoff return, and then just a slew of players that are going to fill in those positions throughout the special teams. But we're excited about where we're at there, and we're excited about the kids that we're putting on the field in our special teams.
Yeah, I thought. To me, our special teams from a couple years ago to last year made such a massive difference. Of course, being able just to handle the deep snaps, being able to get kicks, that are going through.
Sure.
I mean, you work so hard, offensively or even defensively for that matter, to get yourself in certain positions. And I feel like the guys that we've got there made such a big difference last year, and majority of those guys are coming back this year.
Without a doubt. And so, as you talk about newcomers, in all these phases of our game, as in kids, we have some newcomers and coaches as well.
True.
We've got Justin Phillips, who's our new defensive coordinator. Really excited about what he brings to the table and what he brings to this team, and I think you've seen it already in the first two scrimmages. I do. I think we're playing and flying around, playing really good. But he's a newcomer. I mean, he's going to have his first Friday Night Lights as well in the position that he's in. And then you talk about our special teams. Justin Phillips was our special teams coordinator. He's moved to our defense coordinator, and it's opened up a gap and a new opportunity for Coach Tommy Entherath, who's going to be our special teams coordinator. So as we as new kids look to fill spots, we've got coaches that are in a few new spots as well.
Yeah, that's exciting. So let's turn our attention to the opponent. It's a team that we haven't seen in a while. But it's going to be the 40th meeting between our two schools. We'll be playing the Caprock Longhorns, of course, at Dick Bivens Stadium. The Demons have a 27-12 record all-time versus the Longhorns, so we had some success. I haven't played them since 2019. It was in Amarillo. It was the season opener, a game that we won 48-28 over at Dick Bivens Stadium to start off that 2019 season. What are you looking for out of tonight's opponent?
We're excited about it. This is pretty odd to me, but another fact is that we don't have a football player that'll play that has ever played at Dick Bivens.
I know it. That's crazy.
That is crazy. And so I was very excited that we got to scrimmage there. I think that's big, that your kids understand the arena that they're in and the venue that they're in. So I like that. And then, we're going to play. They hadn't changed a whole lot. Coach Freeman's their head coach over there, and he's in year 2. They haven't changed a whole lot as far as scheme as what we've seen. We did scrimmage them last year. We just didn't play them in a game, and so they're very similar. I'm sure they've worked at some new things, but they're similar. A spread offense that's very multiple. They're in and out of one back, two backs, and even empty sets on the offensive side of the football. And then we look over at them on defense. They're super aggressive on defense. I would say they probably base out of a 3-man front, but they're multiple as well. Defensively, they'll be a 4-man front. They bring a lot of pressure inside, outside, and they're pretty aggressive on the defensive side. And so that's something we're going to have to be prepared for. But again, excited about the opportunity to play them again. I think it'll be a great matchup. I just know that I know the type of man that Coach Freeman is, and I know what he's done with the staff. He hadn't had a whole lot of turnover. I think he only had to hire one football coach, and so consistency is the key there. And so I expect to see a much improved football team, and one that's consistent and one that'll play extremely hard for them.
So defensively for the Demons, what do you think is going to be key as they face this Caprock offense?
I think fundamentals is key. When you talk about a first game, I mean there are going to be the jitters. There's going to be errors and mistakes made early in the season. I think if we can limit the point after contact, be great tacklers, be fundamentally sound. And keep them in front of us in the passing game. They're a big screen team. And off of that always comes, some trickery plays from. So just got to keep them in front of us. Keep them in front of us. Be great tacklers. I think if we can do that, we'll be really good on defense.
So offensively for the Demons, what do you think is going to be key to move the ball and score against the Longhorn defense?
And I'm going to always say this. I mean, I think we've got to be able to establish the run game offensively. I think when we do that, and then we can force them to, maybe get some guys out of the box and, or move guys from coverage and put them in the box just to stop our run game. I think it'll open up some other opportunities for us. Possess the football is the key. We can't give them anything. We've got to make sure we secure the football, make good choices in the passing game, secure the football, hold on to it, not give them any more opportunities. And then, I think same on defense. I think the more assignment right we are here early in the season, the more success we're going to see from our kids. Because I like our schemes. I think our schemes both offensively and defensively are effective, but they're only effective when our kids, perform and execute them right. So execution's the key.
For sure. And I think, going into a first game, again, like you've said, being able to see, I mean, this is kind of this team's first opportunity to be able to execute, to be able to kind of see those things. And so for you guys, be able to see, okay, how are we going to handle this? What's it going to look like going into game one?
Sure, I think all that matters. I mean, there are a lot of firsts for us, and every football team, I think, develops and figures out an identity. And so I don't know what that is for us yet. And so that's for this group to determine. But, I like where we've started in the scrimmages. But the Friday nights are different. We talked about that. The quarterback is live. There's no more, hey, I touched you, he's down, or I was close and the ref blew the whistle. I mean, we're now going to have to get them down. We're going to have to get them on the ground. There are no more of these give-me's. And so
you got some taste of that scrimmage last week.
We did on both.
Yeah, well, Coach, I'm excited to get this one started tonight. We'll go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more to Coach Dunnam. You're listening to or watching the Coaches Show with head coach Aaron Dunnam. Welcome back here. It is game one as we get ready to start this 2024 season. As Dumas Demons getting ready to face off against the Caprock Longhorns. Coach, got some quick hit questions for you. Coach Saban is no longer coaching in college football, so he's an ESPN personality now. Who would you say is your favorite college football coach now?
I'm still once a coach, always coach. I'm still going to say that Nick Saban still is,
but a guy there's rumors floating around about him a little bit. So,
but to say a guy that's probably actively still coaching, I'm probably a Dabo guy. I do. I'm just I'm a character guy. I'm a culture guy. I think he's always been a real high character guy that coaches his team with a lot of character, with a lot of culture. He's big on that, and so he's probably my favorite one that's coaching now.
It's a really good pick.
Yes, sir.
Realignment's changed some things for the Dumas Demons. We're now in what's going to be called District 2 4A. We've added a tough West Plains team, but also the format's going to be changed since the district numbering changed. We went from District 3 to District 2. That means for by-district play, it's going to send us out west. We'll play District 1. District 1 is all El Paso teams. So it's going to be a different by-district opponent for teams that go into the playoffs. What are your thoughts on let's go first, adding in West Plains to an already tough district?
Sure. I think it makes it even tougher. I do. I mean, and I think they're a super talented team. I don't know really totally much about them. I mean, if you look at their numbers and you talk about returners, I mean, they did lose a lot of kids.
Sure.
But I know the coaching staff there, and I know one returner they bring back is their quarterbacks who's super talented. And so I expect some good things. I think they're going to do nothing but make this district race even that much tougher and that much more fun. I mean, I do. I think this is one of the best districts in the state of Texas in the 4A. I do. And so every night you got to be ready. Every Friday night, and we're excited. We're excited about the opportunity. Excited about the toughness of this district.
And then, so the change in playoff format, we for the last 6 years, I guess, have been going out east where we'd play the Decatur, Springtown, Wichita Falls. That district that's kind of out there with those teams. A lot of that's changed out there too, and we're not even going to get over into that.
Sure.
But being able to go back west now, it's a huge difference.
Sure.
For one, travel-wise, because it really narrows it. It's crazy since they're so far, but it really narrows it down, kind of where you're, kind of where you know that you might play, but also kind of who you might play.
Sure. And I like it. I don't know that. Definitely. When you look at playing them, it does. When you talk about travel, pretty much first playoff game, you're probably going to play at Midland or Odessa. And so also some venues that we're comfortable with.
Sure.
And so I like that. I don't. It's the playoffs, and so I don't know that there's an easy road anywhere, and so I don't think that's something that you're looking at. Just different.
Sure.
It's going to be different. It's going to be different than Decatur and Hershey and Springtown and those type of guys. But then, when you talk about all of Region 1 and you talk about the travel, there's potentially, there in Region 1, one of our further games down the road is that you'd be playing a team right outside of Austin in Region 1.
Yeah.
So that's crazy, but it's exciting. I like... I think it's always neat to be able to face off and see different opponents and new faces, and so we're excited about the first round El Paso look, and then the rest of Region 1. We're excited about it.
Yeah, it's fun when those things like that change. I like that. The realignment time always kind of brings some excitement because nobody has any clue what the UIL is going to do. And then when it finally comes out, I know for you guys, it allows you to start putting a schedule together and start trying to figure out who you're going to play because you know how many teams are in your district and how many non-district games you can play. And,
yes, sir.
Talk about that just for a second. I think that gives you a little bit of relief, right? Not having to find as many non-district games, which it's tough to find people to play anyway. And then, not having to schedule as many games, it makes it a little bit easier on you guys.
It does help, we're just, we're isolated a little bit. We are. We're not any strangers to travel, and so that's not something we're worried about or scared about. But it has in the past. It's just hurt us a little bit about where we're located and the amount of games that we do have to schedule, and so it's been tough on us. And so it was much easier, when West Plains jumps in there and takes one of those games that you don't have to go find. It was much easier just to set up a schedule this year.
Well, Coach, outside of the game that'll be played on Friday night, what's your favorite thing about game week?
The preparation. That's something that I love as a coach. I was almost felt a little lost there in the first 2 weeks of the scrimmage, and even there in the only 1 week of of two-a-days that we had. But I love Saturdays and Sundays. I love to strategize. I love to prepare. I love to dig in to our opponent's offense and defense, and I love scheming. And so that's probably the most favorite thing that I like about game week is that that you make a plan and then you start working to execute that plan. And so that's probably some of my favorite times as a coach.
What do you enjoy about going and playing on the road?
I like getting our kids out. Sometimes some of the hardest parts of playing for a game, you love your home field, you love your home stadium, but also you're here where everybody is, and so kids have access to there might be somebody coming by dropping something off, or you're able to get your football team, you're able to get on a bus with your coaches, and you're able to just get away with your group with very, very little outside distractions, and so you can get them on the bus, you can get them quiet. You can get them focused on the game. You can get them in the locker room. You can go through your routine of your pregame, and so that's probably what I like most about road game is just being able to get your kids off and get your group together. Yeah,
well, Coach, tonight's burning question is: what is it like the night before the first game of the season for a coach?
It's rough. It usually goes without much sleep. So just the anticipation of everything. You start looking at your preparation. You start looking at, you start checking everything that you've got coming up and what have you done, what have you not done. what have you prepared for? What have what are there's just so much unknown, the night before a game. I mean, even a Thursday night game is, how are your freshmen going to play? How are your JV going to play? And so it's always just the anticipation and the wait time is always rough. And so not a whole lot of sleep, but a whole lot of just running things through your mind. It's pretty hard to get that thing to shut off so you can get some sleep to get ready for the next day.
No doubt. Hey, well, let's talk about some of the games that are going on this weekend. This, again, I think I talk about this every year, and I'll probably say it every week. I love non-district play because you get to see fun matchups. You get to see kind of teams that play each other, especially when you come to this first year after a realignment. You see some different schedules and teams playing some different teams. And so we'll just kind of run through these, kind of talk about them a little bit. I know that some of these teams we're not really going to have any idea what they're going to look like until they get on the field. But we can kind of talk about these matchups. A couple games. We filmed this. Here's a little behind the curtain. We filmed this on Thursday mornings. So as this is being played on Friday night, a couple of these games will already have been played. There's a big game, which is Thursday night, at Dick Bivens Stadium between Paladura and Tascosa.
Huge in town, in the city rivalry. Paladura, we do have a little bit of knowledge about because we scrimmaged them. They're a talented team with a lot of athletes, and then Tascosa. I think Tascosa maybe didn't think that they played quite up to par last season, and so I'm sure they're coming in here with a whole new excitement, new energy about this new football season. But I think that's going to be, anytime where you put inner city teams competing against each other, I think you can throw the records or throw everything out the window. I think that's going to be a really good football game that's going to be played here on Thursday night.
A lot of excitement around that. Your brother at Emerald High, he travels down to Ratliff tonight to play an Odessa High team.
I think that's going to be an exciting game. Odessa's coming with a new coach. I think they just had a coaching change there, late in July, and so a lot of unknowns there with Odessa High. Always going to be pulling for my brother and what he's doing at Emerald High. I think that's I think he's hungry here for the first game of the season. I think that was a really, really close ball game. I think they were actually, Emerald High was up 22-0 at one point, and Odessa High fought back and actually beat them there at the very end. So I think it's going to be a very exciting game for Emerald High, and I know for my brother, and definitely pulling for my brother.
I think this game may actually be tonight too, or Thursday night. Canadian going to travel into Oklahoma and play at Elk City.
I think that's been a pretty good game in the past. I really think I've seen, Elk City's is my mom's hometown. So, I think I've seen them really start to progress and play better football over there in Elk City. And I think it's going to be, I think there's maybe a little bit of unknown about Canadian. Definitely pulling the trigger with a different guy. There's been a Cavalier that's been the quarterback there for a long time. It feels like to me, but I know the Cavalier that's leading the football team there, and Andy's there's nobody better than Andy Cavalier and what he does. And so as we talk about Canadian, I just you don't graduate tradition. And so they've played good football and they will continue to play it. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see how it happens because that's one of our future opponents.
Yeah, it is. So we'll see them just in a few weeks. Next one, I'm excited to kind of talk about and see what happens. It's Canyon at Perryton. Coach Josh Hernandez will have his first game. Is he the first coach that's been under you that's become a head coach?
That is the first coach under me that's went and become a head coach, and so I'm excited about it. Definitely, excited to see him go. I mean, this has some heartstrings attached to it, and want to see him go over there and be successful and take his opportunity to lead Perryton on the first time onto the field, and so they got a tough opponent. I mean, jumping right into it with Canyon, and we know what Canyon does. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited for Josh, but I'm also excited, to see that and try to compare a little bit because that's one of our district opponents. Yeah.
Next one's Bushland traveling over to Borger. Borger's the opponent that we're going to see next week for homecoming. Borger's a team that has improved. They got a new coach. He's I mean, he's had to work hard, but he's changing the culture over there at Borger.
I think he is, and I've had the opportunity. We're playing Borger, so we've already traded some film, so I've seen them a little bit, and they're exactly what you said. I mean, they are improved playing good football. Dane Hamrick does a great job over there. And then, a Bushland team that's super talented that seems to just reload every single year.
Yep.
I know they're really excited in Bushland and what's going on. And so I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see, the growth that the Borgers had. And then, this is our next week opponent. So I'm interested in see what goes on here.
And another team in that we'll face in district play that I think is going to be tougher than what people are giving them credit for this year, and that's Hereford. They're going to host Lubbock High for their first game.
Excited about this. Coach Nairn has done a great job over there at Hereford, and I think this is sort of the team that he's been waiting on. I really do, and he returns a lot of guys. I know at the skill positions. I mean, he might be working in a few new guys on the offensive line. Returns a lot defensively. And then just one that I'm not familiar with, we haven't played Lubbock High in a long time. We played them when I first got here, but we haven't played them in a long time. But I do. I think there are some people that are sleeping on Hereford a little bit. I know I've been on the field with them last year, and so I know what they have, and I'm looking forward to seeing the outcome of this game.
Next game's a couple teams that we'll see this season. Plainview playing at Randall.
It's going to be a good ball game. A coach at Plainview, that's getting his Coach Martinez. That's getting his first start as a head coach. They went through a coaching change in the summer, and then Randall, a team that I think they returned 10-10. I've heard somebody say maybe 9-10, but again, a lot of returners from a good football team last year. And I think this was a pretty good ball game last year, and I think we're going to see it again. And so. Again, a lot of these that we're looking at here are all future opponents of ours. So looking forward to seeing how that looks and just being able to maybe put our eyes on those two teams.
Yeah, for sure. This next game, I think, may be, out of all these games that we've mentioned, may be one of the best games. These two teams played, I think, in the same district the last couple years. Of course, West Plains is only 3 years old, so the first 2 years they played in this district. And I think that every time they played them, it was a great game. West Plains traveling down to Seminole, playing old Wigwam Stadium down there in Seminole. I think it's going to be a really good game.
I do too. I think this will be a good game. I think, West Plains getting out on the road, first game. Lost so many seniors. What do they have? I mean, I think all those. That's all. And so I'm excited to see that. And then which coach has some familiarity with Coach Pointer as well. The old Pampa coach down there in Seminole, got a great staff. They do a good job there. And we've seen them in the playoffs before. And so I think this is going to be a really good football game.
The last one, Pampa, they're going to get the award this week for traveling the furthest. They're going to travel all the way down to Iowa Park to play game number one. Floyd White.
Floyd White, a Pampa guy, a good man. I like Floyd a lot. Have known him and his brother for a long time, and just I think Floyd's done a pretty good job of hiring a staff and getting some guys that are his guys that he trusts. And so I'm excited to see what they're doing. I know the character of Floyd, and I know what he's doing there. And so this will be interesting. Going to play a really good Iowa Park team.
Yeah,
they're at home on the road, and so anxious to see what happens here, and excited for Floyd in his first night there back at home.
Well, it's going to be a fun season.
It is.
Can't wait for it. I get the opportunity each week to talk to our guys on Wednesday. We do a little Bible challenge with them, and Coach, after we got done yesterday, you looked at me and said, "I am on a different level." Coach, you're excited and ready to go.
I am excited, and so I just I am on a different level. I mean, I think everybody realized it on Wednesday. Wednesday's one of our last big practices. Physical style practices, and so I was, and I think it's important that our kids understand that I'm on a different level, and so I'm going to demand and expect them to be on a different level as well. I just a I don't think people maybe or really realize or understand the amount of work that goes into a football season. You know, you practice year round actually for this. You lift weights all in the off season. You lift weights during season. You lift weights in the summer. You do 7-on-7. You do lineman challenge. You know, all in preparation. You've practiced. We started on August the 5th. Practice. All for 10 games is what you're guaranteed. All for 10 games. And so you just don't want to waste it. You know, you don't want to leave any stones unturned. You don't want to approach any day without nothing but your best. And so that's what our kids are going to get from me and this coaching staff. And my challenge to them is that they give us the same.
Sure.
And so we are. I'm on a different level. Therefore, I'm going to demand our kids to be on a different level.
It got me excited. I wanted to run through the wall like the Kool-Aid man. I was ready to go. Well, Coach, excited to get this one going.
Me too.
Man, getting to be under the Friday Night Lights, getting to play, and you know, I feel like maybe one of the coolest stadiums in Texas Panhandle, outside of Demon Stadium, right
without
here.
a doubt.
But being able to play over at Dick Bivens Stadium, it's a stadium that's been there for a long time, but they've made a ton of updates. Got a brand new video board. You know, if we could encourage you out of anything this season, is to be there. Be there in person, see these games, be able to cheer on this team. I think we feel like this is a special group, you know, that has potential. They've got to act through on it, but has some potential to do some really awesome things this season.
Sure, and I would encourage that as well. I mean, I know that the game is streamed, but I don't think there's a better view than sitting in the stands and getting the smell of the air and the feel and again, just come out and support these kids. I mean, I do think we have a group of young men that serve and really dedicate themselves to this community and this high school. And so all we'd ask is just come out and support these kids. I mean, they love to have people in the stands. The energy and excitement from the stands is awesome, and so we appreciate it and want you to come out and watch them.
Yeah, and the cool thing about things being streamed is you can watch this pregame show from your spot in the stands. If you've got your phone, just put on YouTube, find Dumas ISD YouTube page, and watch it along with us. You can put the broadcast in your ear, put your phone in your pocket, watch the game. You can hear everything that's going on and know everything behind the scenes, and still be there in person. So we want to encourage you to take advantage of technology and what technology is doing for you there, and get there and watch things in person.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, well, we are ready for this one tonight. Dumas Demons getting ready to take on the Caprock Longhorns from Dick Bivens Stadium. Kickoff will be right after this.